after learning what they went through, I personally cannot imagine facing down the barrel of a loaded gun. And I sometimes envy the courage and bravery of both Luther and Penny.
All right, so as Lockwood gets ready to throw this book at Annika, Pickleson has been startled to see this scene play out in front of him. You're at the body that you were investigating, looking at the journal and all of that, when you hear Annika yell. Looking up, you see 3 soldiers, Annika, Gerwin, and Fagin, pointing their weapons at a campfire at the center in front of the log cabin. And then you hear Lockwood come running past you to confront them. Annika points a revolver at Lockwood, and they're having this dialogue about a traitor, but they are all looking at something that's not there, or they're all talking about something that doesn't seem real. What's Pickleson's reaction?
I think his initial reaction is to get Lockwood clear of Captain's fire.
So task 1 was getting Lockwood out of the line of fire. What does Pickleson do?
I could suplex her.
You could suplex Lockwood.
I could suplex him.
You know what he's going to do. I think I personally feel that you know Lockwood enough to know that he's going to try and do something. Whether you know why he's doing it or not, you can tell he's getting in position to disarm her or attempt to.
Yeah, I see it as we've got kind of 2 stages here. We have how is Pickleson assessing the situation, and then after you've done a quick assessment and you've described where Pickleson's at with that, is when Pickleson will notice that Lockwood's getting ready to make a move to disarm Annika, and that's when the action kicks into place.
Would I be right in saying that I am short range to the other soldiers?
They are all medium range to you. So
Whistle.
for like 2 strain, you could do a flying tackle, like run and tackle somebody. I think that is within the realm of distance that you're in.
Yeah, and I think that makes the most sense for Pickleson would be to be the bodyguard bulwark. He'll shoulder check her at the waist, grabbing her and rolling her down. Then you can disarm. In theory, right?
In theory. Let me ask this question in Pickleson's assessment of what's going on, because it all has to happen, like that of looking around. Is Pickleson going to give in to savagery and turn this into a fight, or is he going to tackle Lockwood? Are you going to battle, or are you going for protection? I wish I had mentioned that up at the top, because I have that written down as the motivation for the scene. Is if she shoots Lockwood, Pickleson is alone.
His strength is bravery, not brutality. He will dive and save Lockwood.
There's a beat, something's not quite right. Annika's yelling about a traitor, and then Lockwood comes running over. They're all shouting at the top of their lungs, but they've got guns pointed at everyone. Everything kind of, I think for Pickleson in particular, he probably says something, yells something, but nobody's reacting to anything as he's moving. And then the world kind of goes quiet as he becomes singularly focused on the protection of Lockwood. The world slows down into slow motion as he gets up and starts to sprint, and he sees Lockwood raise the journal. He knows that Lockwood's getting ready to throw this journal at Annika, and he takes a leaping dive to shoulder tackle Lockwood. And how well does that go?
Can I get a boost since their focus is different?
Yes. There's not a lot of time to think about it, but it is odd that nobody appears to see you coming. No one's turned to your voice. No one's reacted to your presence in any way. So you can have a boost for that.
All right, I'm going to roll this brawl and then we'll see where I can narrate that. 3 successes, 1 advantage. I think it would be as he barrels onto Lockwood, spinning him around, covering his body with his own and pushing him to the side.
Or you hit the ground in the underbrush. You kind of even slide a little bit on the wet leaves right on top of Lockwood. Quickly check yourself and check Lockwood, because there was a gunshot that happened right as you tackled. Lockwood threw the journal. The gunshot went off. You check and you're fine. You look up back towards where things are, and what you see from the shot is Annika has fired, but has not tracked where you guys are. So she is fired straight ahead and is still looking straight ahead to your south. And the rest of the gunshots that you are hearing while startling are Gerwin and Fagin unloading their lever action rifles into this cookware.
We have an advantage.
The advantage is that we're concealed.
If you allow me, I would spend your advantage to say that Lockwood is snapped out of it by the impact.
That's much better.
So you both are laying in the brush there.
Wait, do I take damage from this roll?
It's a bodyguard roll.
It was 3 successes.
Yeah, I did describe it as like soft underbrush that you landed on. I think you're like a little winded. I'd give you like 2 strain for being tackled.
Yeah, I don't mind. Maybe the pretty boy, but I don't mind it up.
So from Lockwood's perspective, he's throwing the journal to protect a kneeling Pickleson that's between the 2 rifles of Fagin and Gerwin. And then as he throws the journal, uncertain of what's going to happen, here's a gunshot as things kind of go black for him for a second. And then his sight returns as he hits the ground. And on top of him, I think nose to nose, is Pickleson. There's a round of gunfire. And as you lay there for a moment, it still doesn't feel right. And Annika turns back towards the other 2. And without saying anything, raises her rifle at Fagin. Or her pistol. Yeah, she's got the little snub-nosed revolver. There's a beat. You may act. She's clearly going to shoot.
Fagin, I can't act. I've got a penny on top of me.
Could just use the sword and disarm. Here we go. 3 successes.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. Pickleson goes from shushing Lockwood to doing a back roll spring where he pulls out his sword and thrusts it through the trigger guard and rips it out, and it swirls on, comes to the rest on the guard of his sword.
Okay. Losing her gun, Annika has it ripped upwards out of her hand, and her hand kind of follows, and then her hands fall in front of her. She looks at her palms for a second and is just kind of in quiet disbelief for a beat. From the ground, though, Lockwood, you can see Fagin and Gerwin turning their rifles on each other.
Oh gosh. I see. Okay. So with Pickleson moving, and we both see that, they're not paying attention. Analytical brain going, okay, something's going wrong with everybody. Sees those 2 guys not even knowing that we're there, pointing rifles at each other. The smaller of the 2 is not Biggs. So Lockwood scurries, for lack of a better term, and goes to tackle low the smaller of the 2. Goes to tackle Fagin at the knees to take him down and out of the fight, away from that rifle shot that's going to go for his chest area kind of thing. But that's what his plan is to do. So I'll take the 2 strain to get to him and tackle him, basically. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. What's the difficulty of this? It'd be 2 melee purple normally.
I think that's it.
Can I get a boost for the fact that Pickleson snapped me out of it and we've got that kind of going on there, or no?
I think the fact that they're not paying attention to you anymore is the same boost.
All right. And let's see what happens. 2 successes.
Tell me what we see.
So Lockwood, he's dazed for a second. Suddenly there's Pickleson in his face, and then suddenly there's no Pickleson in his face. He sees the other 2 going to aim their rifles at each other, and he rushes around, basically kind of scrambles to his, not to his feet, but to his knees and hands around Pickleson, and goes to basically do a lunge grab around Fagin's legs at the knees, and goes to grab, lunge and grab, and then fall backward to twist him away from Biggs.
And Fagin falls, hits the ground, his rifle falls out of his hands, and you hear kind of and then there's kind of like a dazed pause. And I think that you guys have had 2 successful checks in this unfair encounter I've put you in. To finish it out, I want to hear the description of how Lockwood and Pickleson team up for the final hit on Gerwin to break his concentration of shooting. Because there's definitely another rifle shot from Gerwin that barely misses Fagin. And then having Fagin fallen out of his view, he doesn't have a target at the moment. He also is paused, but is still holding his rifle, looking for a target.
Do we double tackle? One goes low, one goes high.
We spin the crap. Yes, I think that's the way we should do this. Just a glance at each other, and then you drop your sword, and we go for him.
Who goes high, who goes low?
Oh, Lockwood's going low because he's already in that position.
So you close in almost as a pincer move. Lockwood goes low, knocks the legs as Pickleson takes the high and spins him end over end. He goes down and rolls and hits pretty hard up against the log cabin, and his rifle falls out of his hand. There's an almost mournful sound to a cold breeze that blows over the plateau.
Everyone's okay, right?
Luther, you're alive? I shot you.
Penny tackled me out of the way. Yeah, I thought you were going to kill Pickleson.
It was so real. I was convinced he was a traitor.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't remember why.
I don't know why either. We were arguing. Are you okay? Nick looks down at Biggs.
I think so. Oy, me head hurts though.
That would be us.
Well, just be thankful you have one still. I had half a mind to shoot you all as you stood shooting the campfire.
Fagin?
What?
Penny?
All I remember is we found a box of munitions in the cabin, and everything got weird.
Yeah, I felt a cold wind, but I was over by a dead body over there, pointing to the south ridge.
I was at that body over there.
I heard you
the
yelling
tree.
traitor. Points to her and Captain. He's like, yeah, I heard you yelling traitor. And then I saw Pickles on his knees and I ran over.
Which I was at the tree.
You were at the tree? No, we saw you trying to dispose of the evidence.
Yeah, something's not right around here. It's got to be something we ate.
I didn't eat the chicken and rice.
I'm the only one who ate the chicken and rice.
If everyone's all right, we should head back to camp.
Let's talk about what we found first, get that information together. There's 2 dead bodies dressed similarly to body that you found in the water. Same with a journal, which he picks up. Another journal.
It's got a hole now.
You probably. Definitely attacked by something large. Some large, like maybe a bear. Of the one I found in the crag over there. And Penny, what did you find with yours? As we're helping the guys up.
Ripped up and had the pouch of gold. A nice journal. It's a little bloodstained, but everything's in military time with transactions, explosives, coordinates, and loads. Kept a very nice record.
The one I have flips through it. Rather than the whole, not so good records.
All that tracks with what we found in the cabin. There was dynamite, fuses, and a chest of Garian gold where they'd been loading the pouches in. And a shipment manifest. It seems that some merchant of explosives has been writing explosives into this group. We found another dead body just like that.
Somebody stopped them. Nature stopped them, I guess.
Looks more like a bear stomped on them to me.
That would explain, he's going to go over to the edge real quick. If somebody had been knocked off of the edge, they would have fell into the river, right? Theoretically.
If they fell in before the landslide, that would make sense. Because it's just a trickle now.
Okay, so if somebody did fall in before the landslide, then that would be as high as the waters we saw a day ago. That would make sense. This had to have happened between this and what we have up here.
Yeah.
As best sense as we can make out. I'm what I'm having problems with is what animal could it be?
Couldn't have been a wolf. That would have been a low attack to the throat. I mean, obviously attacks to the throat, but from what I'm seeing is larger things attacking downward. Okay. At least one of them had to be a bear.
All of you had something wrong with what you were seeing and perceiving. What type of creature can do that? Or what type of mushrooms was Gerwin and Bryce cooking?
Something the bunnies ate.
Could be something that the bunnies ate.
Okay, so now we've collected all the evidence. We should go back and make sure everybody at camp's okay, because if we were affected, Bryce could have been affected too. And who else was down?
Murray's and Gary's.
They were hunting.
Those two are out hunting, and Bryce was alone at the camp. And as you're standing at the edge, looking at the river and discussing this, There's a low howl of a wolf. As you kind of look around at to maybe where the noise came from, it's just echoing against the mountains. There's not necessarily a way to tell, but you'd spot a bright orange flare from your camp, a signal that there's trouble. Bryce is calling for help.
Oh, yeah. That's for our camp, correct? Flare there.
No. Bryce must be calling for help. There's trouble.
Let's go.
Let's leave this here. We can sort this out later. Let's move.
The flare is a sign of trouble. Help needed. And Captain Chelsea, Fagin, and Gerwin took off in a run south towards the camp because they are in a rush to get back. So the 5 of you are ducking and weaving and running through the forest floor, jumping over roots, and Fagin is leading at the moment because he was one of the pathfinders from before. So he's running the trails that he went through the night before. Lockwood and Penny are bringing up the rear. It was a good hike to get out to here. So you've got a little bit before you're going to make it back to the camp. And I think Lockwood is trying to process what happened a few minutes ago.
I still don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. We have dead people up there. They were shredded to pieces by a wild animal. It definitely was a large animal. It definitely was larger than most of them.
Watch out for the rock.
Careful. Got it. We have 3 people dead up there. One could have fell downstream. It fell off the cliff and into the water.
Watch out for the holly.
Got it. Okay. Gosh, they're much faster. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense why we were hallucinating. It must be something in the water.
It could be mushrooms.
We had different meals. It could be. I didn't see any mushrooms. We have to look back at the base camp to find that out for sure. It could be anything from maybe some local pollen or something that has hallucinogenic properties that maybe found their way into like the air or the whatnot. I have no idea, Penny. It doesn't make sense to me. Logically, it doesn't make sense that I saw you at a fire. Something's afoot. I don't get it. Have you ever seen anything like that in the bush?
There's all sorts of different things, hallucinations. And
watch step here.
Give me a hand. All right, there we go. Thank you. It happens on the battlefield where people just start seeing things. It happens, but I wouldn't say it happens like this all the time. Like, all right, very rarely, because it's a battlefield and things just blow up and stuff.
But
so
we weren't on a battlefield. We were just investigating some dead bodies.
We don't know what trauma might have been picked up.
And that's not a good thing. Careful. Okay, good. All right. As you can see the camp from here, that's a good thing. It could be something hallucinogenic, whether it be just natural mushrooms or something along those lines that found their way into the rations. It could be any number of things, but it doesn't make sense that it was affecting all of us but you. Because you ate the same things that we ate and you used the same utensils that we used. How did you not hallucinate?
I have a better constitution.
I cannot argue with that.
Maybe it's something I picked up along the way.
Penny, as you're moving through the brush and Lockwood's trying to piece things together, you get slapped in the arm with a maple branch and it stings. Your tattoo is a little itchy, but snaps you back to the trail. And as you are coming back from thinking about where you were kind of running in line with everybody else, and you get slapped with this branch, and you look up and you see that Fagin and Annika and Gerwin have stopped to a slow, cautious walk in front of you. As both of you catch up with them, you kind of keep pace. You can see that they are approaching a figure leaning against a tree, clearly a dead soldier wearing the blue duster. Fagin approaches and looks up at Annika and says, "It's Murray's. He's got blood that's run from his neck down and stained his shirt." Gerwin's the next to step up. He picks up the lever action rifle you guys have all been carrying, and he cocks it once, and then nothing comes out, and he gives a little smell, and he closes it, and he looks at Annika, and he's like,
"Smells of raid fire. Must have hit the thing a few times at least, and as good warriors, they died in their feet. Whatever this bear is, it must be big."
Oh, that's not good.
Looking around, you can see the wounds are similar to the Garian soldiers at the top. Another tree a little further off, you can see Gary's having suffered the same fate.
Standing dead?
They're slumped against the tree. Gerwin's comment is they died fighting because there aren't any more bullets in the gun. It smells fired. So
we did hear shots a lot earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
We thought they were coming. Great.
Looking over the body, does he have fish with him?
Fish.
He's our fisherman, hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they both were out hunting. They don't have any food with them. Would you like to perceive the area? You can take some perception checks, give more description.
Lockwood definitely will.
I mean, I
can
would.
Well,
Playing off each other, yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can definitely do that.
hey, and you can have 2 blues for me.
Oh, I
Does that help
can
you?
because I'm in engaged range with you. Do I need to be? Which one?
I need to be
Short.
Short range.
These bodies are within short range of each other.
What Luther's going to do is tap Annika and be like, come with me. Let's check out the other body, while the guys are cornering the first one here. And that's when he's going to start looking around with her out, but she just happens to be there, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
What's the difficulty of this perception check?
This is going to be an average with a setback difficulty perception of the area.
Does Annika provide any benefit? I've tapped her to come with me.
She's focused on
On the
the
body?
body itself.
Okay.
I don't think she's going to boost.
Just thought I would ask since she's the captain. You saw where I was going with that. This is going to be an interesting roll. It is 2 greens, 1 yellow, 2 blues, 2 purples, and a black. Roll. Wow, that's about as good as we've been getting so far. 0 successes, 1 advantage. No successes, 1 advantage. I don't see what you're trying to get me to see. Can advantage be a gut instinct of some sort?
I think gut instinct wise for Lockwood, these wounds are quickly and easily identifiable as similar, if not the same, of what killed the Garian.
Okay.
And there's 2 bodies in close proximity to each other. And Lockwood would see this having brought Annika over. Annika checks the rifle the same way Gurren checked the other. Annika even provides you a little more context. She has a change of demeanor that's starting to take over for her. And
More military.
you can tell she's reacting to the fact that these 2 men fought a battle here. Neither one of them has a noticeable bullet wound of any kind. So gut instinct, they didn't suffer the same hallucination. You're about halfway back to the camp where you had split off from them before. And the battle as it took place is clearly that they were retreating back towards the camp when they both were wounded and then made their last stand at these trees. They slumped down, they extinguished all of the rounds in their rifle, and then they perished.
Annika, both of them have the same wounds that we saw in the Garian soldiers. Whatever was hunting the Garian soldiers is now hunting our men. The last gunshots that we heard were 30 minutes ago, and we thought they were hunting. Let's get out of this area soon. Whoever we got left.
I agree.
She pulls the snub-nosed revolver from the body and she tosses it to Lockwood and grabs a few other things.
Fagin and Gerwin quickly lay the bodies of their friends to rest in the traditional way of Glenick Marines that have fallen in battle, and there's no time to bury them.
The process is from pulling them from the slumped position, laying them down, crossing their arms, making the mark of the Glenick 3-point star in their cheek, hips, and ankle bones. There's a moment of silence, and as Lockwood noticed before, Annika's demeanor has changed pretty drastically. She was doing her best to be relaxed and undercover, and her back has straightened. She has stood tall and has a very determined look on her face. She waits for the rites to be completed, and then Annika is pulling the belts of extra cartridges for the rifles. She gets Murray's, Fagin gets Gary's. They have their rifles, they have the other rifles, they're reloading them and getting ready to go. Annika is given the command that Gerwin is to see you to the capital.
I get that point. We're now in hunting ground. Somebody has to get back to the capital to get word of what's going on. That's why you send 3 people, hoping at least one gets back.
Annika, she's not really explaining a whole lot. She's gone into commander mode, but basically she's saying that her and Fagin are going to the camp and you are hiking out. She looks at Gerwin and says,
Sergeant Wallace, Luther is the mission. See that nothing stops him getting his report to the Empress.
Yes, sir.
Annika looks at Luther.
Only 5 of us know Garia is trying to start a war with us. That has to make it back to the Empress. We are a lone scouting party. No reinforcements are coming. If we die to whatever's hunting people out here, nobody knows what's going on. You have to get to the capital without stopping.
She caught that look in his eye because he's like, no, we need to. Yeah, I understand. 100%. We have a mission.
Not to be morbid, but a body has traveled down the falls before without a message. As much as I'd like to have these boys stay in the field, putting a note in them and sending them down just in case.
It's an extra way to make sure we get a message down just in case. Morbid, but practical.
Sergeant Pickleson, I don't think you're seeing the whole picture. The river is towards the camp. That's where the flare was shot off. That's the direction of the battle. You are to head south. Fagin and I are headed east. Sergeant Wallace will see you back to the capital. If there is an opportunity, we'll come back for their bodies. We are in a situation of an unknown force, unknown danger, and there's very important information that must get to the Empress. That takes priority. Sergeant Wallace, you know what to do. Nothing stops you, not even these two.
Understood, ma'am. Understood.
Annika and Fagin take off towards the east at a run.
I want to do something. I'm going to lean into their strengths and flaws, both analytical and compulsion. I want to flip a point to convey information to Annika and Fagin in hopes they can survive whatever's about to happen. But I want to give them an edge and give over our last story point to encourage that. So flipping the point. And as they're starting to run off and she gives that final order heading off, he shouts, Annika, it's an ambush predator. Be on alert. Don't treat it like something you can just stand and fight.
And you see Annika basically like raise a hand without shouting back, giving a signal that she heard.
Okay.
Without breaking stride.
And because it's ambush predator, we need to get going.
Yes. Let's make haste, watching every bush, because there's bound to be a person ready to rip our throats out. Let's go.
I can't think of how it could be worse. Okay. He's checking that revolver he was passed, making sure it's got bullets in it.
It's a 5-shot revolver.
Okay. Gerwin looks at Penny and says,
Let's go. You take point, move as quick as you can. We're heading south to that ridge. There's a town on the other side of the mountain. We'll have a bit of a climb to get there, but we can get horses and ride to the capital from there. That's where we're going. Don't you stop for nothing, Luther. Luther, you're in the middle.
Yes, sir. Luther's changed his demeanor. He's not the typical aristocrat. This is a matter of life and death. Everybody works together. Or nobody gets home. Unless there's something that...
Pickleson also changes his demeanor, gets into a crouch with the rifle on his shoulder, being the pathfinder at the moment.
Yeah. So you guys all take off as fast as you can, underbrush in the overgrown forest and the sloping mountain. The peaks are now to your right because you're moving south, the river to your left. Where the camp was a big, wider, open area that's going to narrow again as you get further down. And let's start this off with we'll go average upgraded once, because I'll just flip the story point back with a setback survival check.
With a challenge die, average?
So you got a purple, a red, and a black. The black is because you're trying to pathfind quickly.
Okay.
You're at a jog or a run as often as you can.
Can I get a boost for warfare?
I think so.
Ooh. I got a boost. We have silent communication within short range, which would help with pathfinding. Just hand signal and we're moving rather than stop and explain while moving.
I like that.
Where you're ducking through things because we're trying to book it.
That'll give you a boost, an assist from Luther on this one.
Okay. Doesn't matter. One advantage.
You're forging a new trail. This isn't the area of the valley you were riding in. You were closer to the river while you were investigating. Now, where this role comes into play is that you're forging a new trail in an area of the forest that you haven't been in before. And so it's difficult going. You're not able to keep up the jog or run as much as you would like. You don't necessarily come to a complete stop, but the terrain has become difficult, trying to make a straight shot towards the peaks that Gerwin pointed out. After a good ways, you do start hearing the cracks of shots from presumably back at the camp, and things are taking place back there.
Luther's counting the shots.
And he's hearing rapid fire shooting.
Geez. They've engaged something.
And there's a howl behind you, a wolf howl.
It's not good.
You're trudging along and you hear it again.
Closer?
It's closer. The first one you heard was like back to your right. The next one that you heard is back to your left. It's closer.
Yeah, there's at least two predators.
We'll find an ambush spot. We'll ambush them.
Oh, no.
There's more than one predator in these woods and on this mountain.
Gerwin grunts at you.
Negative. We do not stop.
Then we had to figure out some way to keep it from ambushing us because it's just chasing after us.
If it is wolves or bears, it'll find us.
We don't stop. They find us if we stop. They'll catch us sooner if we stop. Our only hope is to make it to the peaks before they reach us. We don't stop moving.
Be on the lookout for a way that we can slow it down, whether it be causing a landslide or something along the lines once we get to those peaks or once we get to the mountains.
Does it sound like the man who brought the beast into the ball?
It doesn't sound like him. What do you mean?
The dog.
The trained dog? Yes, but that was just trained. Great.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Yes, at the ball. Yes, turns and just like at the ball with a madman that was like dressed in the pelts that attacked the prince. He had trained very large wolf-like dogs that were attacking people. This could be the same thing.
As if to confirm your suspicions, back to your left towards the camp, you hear an unnatural, guttural yell in a language you do not understand.
That's the language. Oh, great. He's out here.
Or at least one like him.
At least we know he's a man. Let's get going. Let's keep going. Let's keep it low. If he's controlling them, then they're hunting a pack of 3. So because we have two house and then him. Let us know how many we've got.
How good is your mimicry?
My mimicry? What role would that be?
Deception?
Oh, Lord.
Possibly.
I have a rank in deception. I have a rank in deception.
You were talking about a possible deception roll. I was curious in what direction that was heading. I hadn't thought of one before, but I'm open to you guys telling me what to do.
Mimicking the guy.
And Luther throw his voice through the canyon, reverberating.
We are in an area where it is narrowing down. We do have mountain sides, which are perfect for echoes. If you were to like grab something like, say, a hollowed out something or another as they're running, like a log or something, or reeds or whatever, and then start fashioning something while you're running.
The idea is plausible enough. That is a deception roll that would give you guys an advantage. Is a justified deception roll to me.
What if he creates a sound? What if he's able to make a device that almost kind of like does the noise? Do that in an area, and because of the echoing like that, it just kind of overloads the senses, and it's coming from everywhere, so he throws them off. So he's busy doing that off of the point, and use brilliant to get 3 ranks in deception, and let's do it.
Okay. We're going contested on this one. 2 purple, 1 red, because they have a rank in vigilance, and it is going to have a setback for you're doing it on the run.
He's like, okay. So he's like, starts to grab things. I'm going to make a device to cause a loud sound to distract the animals. He points over it. The one that you tell me about. I'm going to be hooking that up in your canteen as they're moving along. He's like, let me know.
Good. Water before I dump this out. There you go.
Yeah, give the signal when we get to that opening over there as he's working on things. We'll change direction. So this is a deception check. Oh my gosh, it finally worked. 1 threat though, 2 successes.
Lockwood makes this distraction contraption and swings it around overhead, makes this loud noise. Just as you break into the clearing, Luther's spinning. The canteen is the main source of the woo-woo sound. The canteen snaps off for your threat. You're successful. The noise is a distraction, reverberating and kind of overloading any of the sounds that you guys are making. And it kind of shoots off to your left, hits a little tree. Previously, you had heard a howl behind you a ways to your right and a howl to your left, almost straight from your left. One of these unnatural wolves leaps from the tree line and tackles the canteen in a growl. It sailed a good ways out of range, but caught its attention.
Oh, and
wow. It's distracted for a moment as you break the tree line and start working your way up the hill. Sniffs around, gets up on its hind legs, and thrashes with its arms, its forelegs, into the reeds until it pulls up the canteen. This is all something you can see as you're on the run over your left shoulder. And you're making some distance. And this is probably a good time to roll initiative. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Foxglove Letters. We hope you've enjoyed the adventure so far and can't wait to see where the story goes. Before we go, we want to let you know that we love hearing from our listeners. If If you have a question for our players, their characters, a comment on the story, or just want to say hello, drop us a line at diceycantina@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Dicey Cantina for behind-the-scenes artwork and world building. Or if you just prefer to chat, join the Discord. Links to everything are in the show notes. If you're enjoying the show, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform, as it helps us grow the show and reach more listeners. The Foxglove Letters is a creation of Dicey Cantina, playing Genesys by Edge Studio. Until next time, dear listeners, don't forget the words of Mr. Cunningham when he said, "Don't just watch the world pass you by. Reach out and grab the stars."